Hello everybody! Now the base game DCS World has been free for quite a while, and it comes with 2 free aircraft, lowering the barrier to entry a little bit. Still, the learning curve is quite steep, and we're trying to shallow that a little bit today for people who are unfamiliar with flight sims in general. Now the 2 planes that come free with DCS are the TF-51 and the Su-25 Tango, and since it's easier to fly and it actually comes with weapons, we're today going to take a look at the Su-25 Tango. The goal is going to be to get you flying and, more importantly, shooting unguided weapons in less than 5 minutes. All you need in preparation for this is some kind of cheap joystick, and of course the game DCS World, which is free to download. Once we start the game, we're going to go on Options, then Controls, and go to, first of all, the Su-25 Tango, since we want to configure for that, and then gonna go to Access Commands in the drop-down menu. Here we got Pitch and Roll, which not only should be bound to our joystick itself, but we're also gonna go on Access Tune, down here, where we take a closer look at the axis itself. There we got the option Curvature, which we're gonna bump up to 20 or 30. This will make your joystick a lot more precise in the middle where you use it most of the time, and you'll still retain the ability to use it to its maximum. Next up, we're going to go back to All and press Spacebar, which will bring us down to Weapon Fire. This is a button that you want to configure on the trigger that you probably have on your joystick. It's going to be your fire button. The next button you want to put on your joystick is Weapon Change, which will simply enable you to switch between your weapons. Next up are the trim keys. Now, every joystick I've seen so far comes with at least one 4-way switch, and on that one we're going to put the 4 trim directions. Now all set up, we're going to head back to the menu, Mission Editor, and go to the Caucasus map that comes free with the game. On the left right we have an aircraft symbol, press that and then press anywhere on the map and you get the menu on the right. There, starting from the top, we can select the country, in this case Russia, since we want to fly a Russian jet. Scroll down to the Su-25 Tango, which should be the only one yellow for you. Down there, skill is going to be set to player, because the player is supposed to control it himself. And then we're going to switch to the weapons menu. Here you can select your weapons loadout for your plane. Today we're going to make a new loadout just with the unguided weapons we're going to be looking at today. Now, by right-clicking on any of the stations, you get a drop-down menu showing you what can be put on that station. On the outer stations, we're going to put some S-24 Bravos, which is just one big unguided rocket, and on the inner stations, we are going to put normal rocket pods that contain a bunch of rockets. Now that we're done with the loadout, we hit the green button to the left. It's going to ask if you want to save the mission, no, and press start, and you'll end up in the cockpit. A final press on fly, and there we go, you got control of the plane. Now, it looks a little overwhelming at first, so we're just going to pause it here and have a look at what you see right in front of you. Looking forward through the glass, you got the head-up display, which gives you the most important information in flight. On the top left, you got your current speed. On the top right, you got your current altitude. Now, mind you, those are in kilometers per hour and in meters. In the middle of the HUD, you got an airplane symbol that tells you how your plane is banked and how your nose is pointed. And to the right, you got a vertical speed indicator that tells you whether you're climbing or descending. Now, the first thing we want to do is look at the vertical speed indicator and just try to fly straight and level. That means bringing that arrow, or the arrow that belongs to it on the instrument, on 0, so that we're actually flying completely level. Once you manage that with your joystick, you can try trimming the plane more and more until you can just release the joystick and the plane will just continue to fly straight. Now keep in mind, every time you change altitude or speed, you will have to re-trim the aircraft so that it stays straight and level. So once you've managed to trim it out at your current altitude and speed, try changing your altitude, try changing your speed, and then trim it out again. This is going to be a process that you have to do all the time in every aircraft, so just get used to trimming out your aircraft so you can work hands-free while your aircraft maintains altitude and course by itself. Well, you can not only trim out your aircraft straight and level, you can also trim out your aircraft in a dive, so that it maintains a constant dive, or of course a constant climb. Now, why would you be concerned with a precise and constant dive, you ask? Well, good thing you asked, because this brings us to Unguided Weapons, what probably everybody has been waiting for, to create some craters in the ground. Now, first thing we gotta do, when we want to use Unguided Weapons, is press 7 on the keyboard, which will change from navigation mode, which is selected by pressing 1, to the air-ground mode. Now we see those little dots on the bottom of the screen that we also see down there in the cockpit instrument, and we see a name displayed on the bottom right of our HUD. That is the weapon that is selected and the name of the weapon selected. To the left we got an arrow on a bar and 2 markers on that bar. Now that is a range indication, and we are in effective range when the arrow is between the 2 markers. Now we're going to start our check run. That clearing down there looks as good as any. I'm going to put the marker on the clearing and trim the aircraft out so it flies straight at the clearing.
Authorized.
The arrow goes between the markers, launch authorization, and we can press the trigger. And another one. Now, if you try this, you might want to start from a little higher up to have more time in the
Launch
dive,
authorized.
and to reduce your throttle to idle so that you're not racing towards the ground at maximum speed. Now we're gonna switch weapons by pressing the weapon switch button once, and gonna search for a new target. And you can see in the HUD that the other weapon has been selected indeed. Now we're gonna roll in.
Launch authorized.
We're in range. We've got launch authorization displayed in the HUD. Now we just gotta stabilize. Now tell me that that ain't fun. Alright, I hope you found this helpful. Till next time.